What's up, guys? Welcome to Watching Sundays. This is our very first episode. I'm Element.
And I'm Flip.
And today, we're going to be discussing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, Spoils of War. This episode was fucking insane. Like, personally, it felt like after it reached a high point, it kept on going, and it didn't stop until you saw the credits, and you're like, wait.
If you guys have caught the reaction that I had after watching this episode, I literally stood up, flew out of my chair and just yelled at the TV at what we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, the general feeling for this episode basically was just everything went down and it was crazy. So, for example, Sansa reunited with Arya.
It was basically a Stark reunion. Winterfell has finally risen from the ashes, and it's basically been reborn. The Starks are reunited. Jon Snow is king, Sansa is in charge right now, but I thought it was a little funny when Arya was walking through, trying to get in.
And she was trying to assert herself. The guards weren't recognizing her, but she, displayed some of her skills when she vanished like the Dark Knight on them. And made her way into the keep. But Sansa recognized some of the stuff that she said and went on to reunite with her, as well as reunite with Bran. So that was a really good part of the episode. But also, Jon Snow and Dany in the caves, showing her the dragon glass, but also coming upon the hieroglyphs that the children of the forest drew. And finally, he had his proof that the army of the dead existed. And so that makes his job a lot easier in trying to convince people at least of who the true enemy is,
It was kind of like a first date.
Yeah,
almost.
I thought so.
He's leading her down this really intimate, lit kind of cave.
I was saying it the whole time. This is a really great first date.
Yeah, and you could kind of see the chemistry starting to evolve as the two of them start to get to know each other a little bit more. He's showing her the early drawings, hieroglyphs from the children of the forest, and she's starting to realize when she sees the illustrations of the White Walkers that this enemy is real and it's always been around for centuries.
Yeah, I mean, and compounded by the fact that they were both discovering this for the first time. I think maybe Jon Snow may have glanced at it first before showing her, but they were both kind of learning about a lot of things about the history of the first men, and so that could be one of the big points, the turning points in their relationship in terms of how they interact with each other.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting too, the part where it's kind of like the both of them eye to eye right now. They're just staring into each other's eyes. You almost kind of feel like there might be some kind of connection that's starting to develop. She gets closer and closer, and then she tells him, bend the knee.
Yeah. After all of that, it was like, I'll help you, but you still gotta bend the knee. And so she was being a little bit stubborn in that area, but she came out to some bad news. They took Casterly Rock, but they lost a lot of other people. They lost their
Dorne.
ships. They lost Dorne. They lost Highgarden and the gold that they had.
And no more food.
Yeah, and so it came down to, her needing Jon. And I think that's a, 180 from how we left in the other episode, the previous episode, where she was kind of very
Dominant.
stern and,
Yeah.
and very, strong willed about her position in comparison to Jon Snow. Now she needs her. Now she needs him. And
Yeah,
so,
she's a little bit weaker now, and now she kind of realizes it's at this turning point where she looks at Tyrion and be like, hey, these strategies are not working. Enough about the strategies. Screw the strategies. I'm gonna ride my dragons and I'm gonna show my power.
we move on to Arya showing off a bit of her badass side.
That was. I just have to reiterate how much excitement I had watching this episode.
Yeah.
She comes out. she's a very small framed girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a fencing sword, I guess, or at her hilt, and then the dagger that
the
Bran
rapier
gave
and
her.
the dagger, right?
And very unassuming. Bran just kind of looks at her as I don't want to hurt you. I got this big ass sword.
But she also when she was walking in, the way she looked in comparison to how she has looked throughout all of the
that's
seasons.
right, yeah.
She looked clean. She looked
Confident.
yes, very
strong.
confident and strong. And so they started to spar. I thought she was like genuine. Like, I want to train with you because you know.
You beat the hound. She
yeah,
like calls
you beat
it
the
out.
hound.
You beat the hound.
And
It's like, you can
suddenly-
train with Podrick, or I'll get the sword master. And she's like, nope, they didn't beat the hound. I want to train with you.
Yeah, and then
So
suddenly,
right away,
like
you
she
kind of
freaking
like
starts like doing all these moves that she learned from
Sirio.
and the moves that she learned with the Faceless, and she started doing all these kinds of like knife work and like footwork, and
It
it
was
was
very
incredible.
balletic too. Like the way she was moving, very smooth. Like,
Yeah.
Very minimal movement. She's showing off some acrobatic stuff, and oh man.
And she did all of that in front of Sansa.
and
I always
Littlefinger.
I thought Sansa was like looking at her. She's like, dude, what the hell am I? Like, I mean, I look at her and think that she's more of a Cersei and Arya is more of a Jaime.
It's kind of almost turning out that Arya is like kind of she should be like a Queen's Guard or something as Brienne is, but like I think it was really affirmation of when they met at the Sept, right? And then she tells Sansa that I have a list of people that I want to kill, and Sansa kind of reacts at this kind of awkward laugh and is like, my little sister has a list of people to kill. Oh, that's funny. And then this fight happens with Brienne, and like, tell me what you thought about that last part of the fight where she takes her dagger, Brienne grabs it, flips it to the left hand.
I mean, you know, you don't have to tell me twice. You saw me rewind that a couple times. That was a really intense.
We needed to see that over and over again.
Yeah.
It was so awesome.
And so we come to like the coup de grace, or the final set piece of this episode that just completely
Absolutely the best scene in this episode.
it took the season. I mean, I don't want to be like premature and say that this is the best episode of the season because I don't want to like, you know.
So far, you can say so far.
It just took it. It just took me by surprise. Probably took you by surprise. How much they did with it.
Oh, it definitely took me by surprise. I stood off out of my seat and was just like clapping and screaming.
Yeah.
I was just like, the Dothraki, you hear it's like you're telling me, it was like, oh, you know what? It's just thunder. There's just like noise, and then they'll come up at the flanks, but they just came full bore straight towards them. They were unprepared. You know, I was a little disappointed. It's like a smaller army. You know, the main force has already moved on, but this was just kind of the leftovers. But like, Drogon like comes flying out of the clouds, and Dany's riding him, and fire and brimstone just erupts, and like
that was my moment in one of the previous episodes, previous seasons, where Dany was first becoming the breaker of chains, when she was talking to the slave masters and she first said Dracarys. That was like one of my favorite moments from that season.
Oh, you say that so good, like Dracarys. Like,
yeah, but now it's one of my favorite moments from this season because she says it again. And when Drogon comes down and she's on the dragon, and she's like, Dracarys, and then she starts burning everything.
It was just like
incredible.
It was just a beautiful cinematic display of power. You know, power and grace, because, you know, as ugly as a dragon might look like, it's just beautiful how it glides in
I don't think dragons are ugly.
But I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do a duality here, but like, just seeing him sweep through the sky and the fire just coming down, just destroying everything in its path. That was just beautiful.
That was a good shot too.
Yeah, that was amazing. I could not hold myself together. I thought Bronn was gonna die, and you know, he was able to get out of the way a couple times and got to the ballista. I had no idea that was with them, but they must have been prepared. If anything like that would happen.
That's when my heart started to really pump, because I was they can't kill a dragon right now. They just can't. And I think they're not going to be able to. That's just my prediction.
Well, for me, I was like, you would think that they can't kill a dragon right now, but this is Game of Thrones. It's Game of Thrones will rip your heart out and disappoint you, and then like leave you crying. That was the same thing I was feeling. I was like, oh, this would suck. This would suck right now if they actually
I mean,
kill
I
Drogon.
was
The whole
saying to
time I was
myself-
like, just injure him, because
Yeah.
they ain't gonna do this sequence for nothing. You know, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, the whole time I was telling myself, he's just gonna miss. That's not gonna hit, and it's definitely not gonna kill him, because I think, you know, Drogon is her one of her larger dragons, and of course it hit him, I think, on his shoulder.
Yeah. So when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, that's nothing. He's been hurt before in the fighting pits.
And you know, he came down like the angel of death. He was like, dude, you just struck me, and
Yeah.
then burned the ballista. Braun, you know, survived that one.
Yeah,
That
and I
was-
thought it was interesting with Tyrion too, the look on his face, like witnessing his own men, pretty much. You know, like
Yeah.
he's a Lannister, of course, but
Mhm.
like that, for me, when I saw that, I was like, is this a moment where he starts to think about where his loyalties really lie? But
it could
maybe
be.
maybe that's like one of those predictions, you know, that we can maybe ask our audience if that's something solid to like latch onto.
Yeah, leave it in the comments if you think that this is the turning point for Tyrion. I don't think so. He killed his own father.
That's true.
So
That's true.
it's like,
He killed his lover. He killed his own father.
You know?
A little battle scene, a little death in the field shouldn't really affect him.
but you know, then they honed in on Jaime, and he started to like get this look in his eyes, like, oh, I'm gonna be a hero.
And you can tell, but you can tell too. You know, Tyrion, like, he was like, "Run, fool!" Like, he still loves his brother. He's probably like, that's probably
Yeah,
the last thing he
flee,
wants
get
to
out of
see
there.
is see his brother die. But he had like this heroic moment where he like he musters enough courage and picks up a spear and charges towards Daenerys.
And that's when we see his trajectory taking him towards Drogon's mouth. And he
That was
almost
just
gets
amazing when that
roasted.
happened. It was like, I kind of knew that was gonna happen. It's like, there's no way he's gonna have a free shot at Daenerys, like,
No.
with Drogon sitting right there next to her.
And I actually thought, watching that scene unfold, I actually thought he was going to die.
Yeah, me
And
too. Like,
I
I thought
want
this
him
was
to
gonna
die.
be the moment where the first major character of the season dies. Like,
Mark my words, I want him to die.
and I have no idea who saved him. Like, who
I think
saved
that was
him?
Braun, right?
It could have been Braun, or it
It
could
must have been Braun.
What's
It
his
had
name?
to be
Dickhorn?
oh yeah, Dickon.
Dickhorn?
Dickon Sam.
Dickon?
What is Tarly? Dickon Tarly?
Dickon Tarly? That's hilarious.
Oh
name.
jeez.
but
Comments below. Dickon Tarly hashtag.
But like, he eventually gets saved. Like, too bad. I'm actually a fan of Jaime. I do hope that he has a retribution arc. It feels like his character has kind of evolved throughout the years.
He deserves to die.
You guys let us know if Jaime deserves to die or if he needs to be some kind of a retribution hero in this kind of Song of
Some
Fire
kind
and
of
Ice.
redemption.
But the last thing you see is him heading towards the bottom of the
Yeah,
water. He's
like
got
he's
all
gonna
that
drown.
armor. Like, I don't know if he has enough armor or if it's lightweight enough for him to swim out of there.
Or
but-
can he swim with his iron hand?
So I guess I could just assume that he's going to be captured.
Yeah, that's also, you know what, I'll concede to that. I think I would like to see him
Captured for the
captured.
second time.
Yes. And
Maybe they'll chop off his other arm.
you know what's going to
hand.
happen? He's going to get captured, and they're going to ransom him for the gold that Cersei just got. And so what's going to happen? Is she going to pay this ransom? Who knows?
I don't know.
But if she doesn't pay it, Jaime might be his turning point. If she doesn't care enough to pay for his ransom.
I mean, that could be, I mean, who knows? Cersei, I don't see her paying at all. You know?
Yeah.
She is the mad genius. Like, everyone is saying that she's a mad queen, but I actually think she's a mad genius. She's just moving her pawns all over the chessboard, moving her pieces, being strategic, sleeping with Jaime in the previous episode to get him to.
So that was a manipulation. That wasn't just like,
Oh,
I
that
love
was
you
that
again.
was a move. That was like, I love you again. Take charge of my army and go win me Highgarden.
But I don't really. This is just
But
to make you feel better.
You're just my knight on the chessboard, moving the pawns.
That's gonna be
around.
crazy if she doesn't pay. Does he turn on her? Is there a point where he turns on her?
Yeah, you know, that's tough to predict, but that could be one of our predictions.
Yeah. we have a lot coming down the road for us with the rest of the season, and it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I am just excited about what happens next because they're way farther down the line. There's no more source material,
Yep.
so they're just making things up right now as they go, and it's do or die, I guess. Like, I don't know, like we're gonna see the White Walkers next.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's next. That was a big budget display that we just saw in this episode, and what usually happens in the next episode, it's kind of a sleeper. I predict the next episode is just gonna be a lot of talk, a lot of noise, and just prepping you for the episode after.
Well, the next episode is going to be 5, right? So we're officially halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to get a John Dragon moment, you know?
Ooh, yeah. I've been
Where's
waiting.
Rhaegal and Viserion? It's
Well,
only
they need
Drogon,
writers, right? They need writers. Or
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen them act upon themselves like as a trio.
They did. They did
have.
when they were
Marine or something.
when they were taking down like ships and stuff. They were.
Oh yeah.
They were when the slavers came back to take back Marine. They burned down the ships on their own. But yeah, where are they? It's only Drogon in the battle, so maybe Jon will have a dragon moment next episode. Who knows?
My prediction would be is that they meet face to face. Well, I don't know about face to face, but they're close enough where Drogon recognizes that this is a Targaryen.
Yeah.
And there's all these prophecies and theories that's just gonna affirm and confirm everything that we've been talking about.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Watching Sundays. If you guys have predictions to share, leave it in the comment section below. And if you liked this episode and you want to see more of us, just hit the subscribe button and leave a like. Did I say leave a like?
Yes, you said leave a like already.
All right, well, yeah, just
this
subscribe.
is our first episode. This is our first take almost, and we're just kind of winging it right now. We are two brothers. His name is Element. My name is Flip. We get together. We have busy lives. We only get together on Sundays and watch our favorite shows, and that is what this show is all about, Watching Sundays. Until next time.